Welcome to Sumac Watches. In this video we'll be looking at the restoration of a pretty rare 1993 Precista Royal Navy Divers watch. This watch came from an MOD disposal auction, and as you can see it looks in fairly poor condition. I need to get the watch apart and see what we're dealing with. The first step is to remove the back. I've broken the rust seal with my bench mounted Caseback tool, and I can now finish the job with a friction ball. And there you have the ISA 1198 movement. No dirt, no debris, no corrosion, no battery leakage at all, and apart from a fingerprint it looks near perfect. And the inside of the case back is really nice and clean too, which is all good news. I managed to loosen up the screw down crown with some rust remover and brute force, so I can now extract the stem by pressing on the detent there, and the stem and crown come out, actually in reasonable condition. The black spacer ring is unique to this watch and thankfully present and in good condition. The movement itself is held in place by a friction fit plated steel ring, and it's seized solid. So after a bit of a wrestle I managed to extract the movement and remove the dial and hands, and we can see exactly what we're dealing with. I'm very carefully picking up the dial by the edge, and we can see it's in really excellent condition. No marks on it at all. The next job is to remove the crystal before we start trying to deal with the rotating bezel. I put a correctly sized die from a crystal press into the inside of the case, put it on a little cushion, and then a few sharp taps with a watchmaker's hammer, and that knocks the crystal out. And there you have the 3mm thick mineral crystal, all stained with rust around the edge, with that white residue on it. The next task is to remove the bezel, which fortunately I was able to do without too much drama, and you can see there is a lot of corrosion on the case where the bezel sits and inside the rotating bezel. A lot of corrosion in there which all needs to be cleaned off. To clean up the rust I'm using some pretty aggressive rust remover, applying with an old paintbrush, and you can immediately see that the rust is beginning to break up and disappear. So I've been working on the case and bezel, and you can see now that there's no rust on the case. There is some pitting, but the rust itself is all gone. On the bezel you can clearly see it's much cleaner inside and out. Again, there is some pitting, but that will not affect the operation of the bezel itself, and the bezel insert also cleaned up really well and looks good. Now I can move on to refit the crystal gasket, a new crystal, and the rotating bezel, which hopefully will be nice and smooth now that it's all cleaned up. I've now fitted the crystal and the bezel went back on with no problems, and it does indeed have a very smooth action, and you can hear a nice clicking sound once again, just like new. Very pleased with that. I've been away and serviced the movement and refitted the dial and hands, and it's all looking very nice and clean. It's hacked at the moment, but if I click the crown in it starts running, and we can see the second hand is bang on the markers, which we all like. Now we're ready to get the movement cased up. Before I do that I blow some compressed air into the case to get rid of any dust or fibres. Then I place the movement onto a piece of polythene, in fact a little grip seal bag, and offer it up to the case and get it into the correct position. and then I can flip the watch over. The next task is to refit the friction fit movement ring, carefully pushing it into place until it clicks home, and that holds the dial in movement firmly in place. Then I can fit the stem and crown. Check it's still running and screw the crown down. Now I can refit the black spacer ring, and once the back gasket is replaced, the caseback is fitted, and that is the 1993 Precista Royal Navy Diver's watch, restored back to full working condition and good for many more years service. Thanks very much for watching. Check out @Sumac Watches on Instagram for more mostly military watch content.